What we have here is a failure to communicate. What we have here is a black hair health crisis, right? A black hair health crisis. Let's just give you an overview right here, right, of some of the pics that's out there. What we actually were searching was the lace weave cancer and perm link, right? That the latest news has come out that the lace weaves, right? The lace weaves are causing cancer, forehead cancer in black women, right? In black women, especially. This is the news. Now, this is the evidence. This is the truth, right? Now, in spite of that knowledge, the many ones knowing what they know will continue, right? Is there a connection also, since the hair and the root? You understand? A tree cannot grow, right, without roots, right? If a tree loses its roots, it will not grow. And so that also now connects with the black hair health crisis that's going on. There's an epidemic of baldness, right? There's an epidemic of baldness that's also going on, in particular in large numbers among black women, right? Now, this is not something that is a part of our true culture, but people have gone astray from the way, and they are caught in a cult, right? They have been seduced. The Black Eve has been seduced. The black woman, to use that metaphor right there, the Black Eve has been seduced. The serpent entered in the garden, and we have to also say this, that it's the black man, almost in the very same way. The fault is Adam's, right? The fault is really Adam's. So although we have to contend, right, with the aftermath, right, and perhaps other generations too will have to contend with this. Look at this right here. I want to show this. This is what Naomi Campbell. Like you see this epidemic, right, going on of receding hairlines and baldness and balding. Look over here in this particular pic right there. Look at that right there. You even have some so-called effeminized men doing the same thing, right, because their mother's black, right? Now, look over here, this baldness going on, and I knew about some of this before. And I know my mom's, my own mother, she wears wigs. But one thing I noticed about her over the years, she refused to do that perm thing. As many, not many, but there's a few other black women that have refused. Of course, they, with the wigs, there's the wigs. But wigs is one thing, right? These lace weaves are something totally different, right? And one day I got to see her after my earthly father passed, and she didn't. I started spending a little more time around her, and she didn't have one of the, like I call it, church wigs that she might wear. I saw her natural hair, and I was shocked. She had nice, like almost like an Ethiopian afro, right? Because what I've picked up from my time out in the so-called world among the flesh and the devil, right, is that a lot of black women, especially older black women, are bald. Not all, but what I'm saying, this, if that was bad even a couple of generations ago, it is continuing as a health crisis to metastasize and even get worse, right? And see, now we're being told that, well, we are not supposed to say nothing about this. Do you know what's coming next? What's coming next is going to be like a plague of death. You understand? Sickness is breaking out already, right? The warning shots have been fired, in other words, across the bow. You understand? Information, research, study, even many women who were seduced by this, right, and started to see the ill effects and the health issues have spoken up and spoken out. And many of them also, what's that right there, right? And no wonder there's an epidemic of transvestism or trannies or, so forth and so on. Because when you, look at this. Look at this. And we're told that we're supposed to accept this as normal. Now remember, most of these women here are victims. Most of them are victims, right? But they are not victims who are not they're not victims without an opportunity to change their way, right? To repent, to have a change of mind. But if the head is all messed up, what is the heart going to be like? You understand? So when we see a lot of these kind of vids where the beast, right? I mean, there's this other sort of a black woman is coming out, right? Something that we have not known, we have not seen. Perhaps this happened long time ago. You see what I'm saying? But it's not anything that is known from recent history. In fact, over the past 40 years, we see this epidemic increasing exponentially over the past 40 years. Now, some will say, well, white women do this. But wait, I thought we were proud to be black, right? But black is just a color. Some will say, oh, it's a state of mind. But black is not a culture in that sense. Let's understand how we use this particular word right here. And now we're told that they even have a little girl over here, a little baby girl that, I don't, was that her hair? I thought she just had a wig on, but then I started to read up on more of it, and it's actually a weave that she has. It's not just a wig or whatever, but it is a weave. What they say, mother like daughter, right? Mother like daughter. The good news for us is that there is a way out. The bad news is that many have turned deaf to reproof and rebuke. You understand? And thus this hair, this hair health, black hair health crisis. Yeah, black hair health crisis. Right? It's not just okay. They straighten the hair, so forth and so on. But now we're seeing that there's a medical. Right? Well, maybe they're going to get Obamacare. Maybe Obamacare is going to help them out. And I'm saying that sarcastically. Because more are going to die. Like Bob even said, many will have to suffer, right? Many will have to suffer. Many will have to die. Don't ask me why, because Jah already told us, and Jah is not mocked. Black woman, are you listening? Jah is not mocked. You are being mocked. But see, that's the thing about a deceived person. You understand? One who is deceived. Right? So we can shout at them, we can argue with them, we can even mock them, right? I would say, brothers and sisters, we would need to pray that if Jah is willing, in Yeshua, in the Black Messiah, may they come to their senses before it's too late, because this crisis is going to get worse before it gets better. Yet, like with Eve, like with biblical Eve was deceived, yes. The man wasn't deceived, but bros, no need for you to, the man wasn't deceived, the woman was deceived. If it wasn't for the woman, such and such. This is what the same argument coming out against these here had it biatches. Right? Here had it, they like the term bitches. I was shocked. We're not supposed to say the word nigger, you understand? But it's all right to say the word bitch, because remember, the serpent has crept in the garden, right? And Adam allowed it, right? Many of, I never liked this, really. I'll be honest with you. I try to deal with the person and not excuse the here. I'm talking about my own experience. First time I had a girlfriend, and she had this kind of hair. It was seductive. It was a seduction in a sense. You know what I mean? This happened about 20 or more than 20 years ago. And then I ran my hair. I did the so-called nigger biatch, unpardonable so-called sin. I tried to run my hair through her head. You understand? And then as I put my hair through her head, it hit up on something. It's like I thought I was caught in a bear trap. And I was like, and then she jumped up, and it was a little bit comical on a certain level. And then she kind of showed me what it was about and everything. She, eventually took that out and everything of her hair, because I was into the knowledge, and and not just the knowledge, but because of grace. The relationship didn't bear a fruit of a relationship. You know, I don't want to even get into some of my personal, even though it's a testimony. But I'm just testifying to the first time that I encountered, this, and it was like actually. Anyway, this is a crisis. There is a real epidemic. There's a real health crisis. That's what I want to point out. I mean, let's click on this one right here so you can see this. There is a health crisis. You know, when I look at some of these pics, this is like something out of like a cartoon, right? This is like something out of Disney or something like that. It must be part of that princess syndrome. Part of it is the princess syndrome. So some of it has been programmed, right? Programmed. So like when we go back to the whole thing about the white doll and the black doll, ones had done a studies out there where a young black girl, when asked which doll was more beautiful, right, she said, "Oh, it's the white doll." You know, a lot of people were kind of outraged about that. And see, this is living in the image of somebody else. You know, we can even say living in the image of the beast, but this is not to demonize so-called white folks, even though some of y'all say it's all the white man's fault. Right? It's like saying it was all the devil's fault. Well, the devil had his hatred, you understand? But if the black man, right, was speaking up, and even myself, I must admit, when, this girlfriend of mine, it did look sexy, and whatever that means, based on these images, right, based on these images, based on this particular image, it did seem sexy and nice and everything. But once, maybe that's why a lot of black women, they say, don't touch their hair. Because once I touched it and once my fingers ran into that bear trap, you see, once my fingers ran into that bear trap and everything, that really, it was no longer sexy to me. It wasn't. It was, it was like, what is this? What is this? So here we see a couple of, you can even see the mannequin. It's like the people are looking like mannequins. They had some pictures of some of these black women, and at first I could not tell whether it was whether it was a human being or whether it was a mannequin. And the health crisis is also psychological, right? It's spiritual, it's psychological, and as we've been pointing out, lace front weaves cause cancer. It's proven. It's a fact. Whether you like it or not, it's a fact. You can say that it's not going to happen to you until it happens to you. It's a fact, right? It's a fact. Perms cause fibroids. It's a fact, right? It's a fact. So when we start hearing, folks say, "Oh, I have alopecia, I have this, I have that," the European, for their Negropean creation, they'll make up some diseases. They'll find some Latin words and call it something. They say, "Oh, my condition is," my doctor said, "my condition is such and such and such and such." It matters not, right? It matters not. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother. You see, we're talking about health here, right? We're talking about health here, right? We're talking about life. We're talking about, I guess that's not what's important. I guess that's not what's, and what is up with this pucker up sort of thing? You understand? Instead of going down to Egypt, right? Speaking about Martin Luther King Jr. and his dream. Did you know that the dream that Martin talked about wasn't part of the script? He flipped the script on the script, sure, and he also flipped the script on the script. But that actually, if you look at a CNN documentary, right, on Martin Luther King Jr., in the CNN documentary, it was actually a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman that told about her dream that she had, and one of King's aides actually ran in and told King, and some on King's staff didn't want to include it. At the last minute, King put it in there, and one of the civil rights leaders at the time, it's on the documentary, CNN documentary, he said, "Oh, expletive, delete it, delete it." We did a video called Dream Lie. Dream Lie. You can check it out at the lojsociety.org. You understand? In fact, we need to probably play it on RastafariGroundation.com and everything, so ones can check it out for themselves. It's kind of long, but we really wanted to go through some of the details, right? Because they say the devil is in the details. Anyway, let me get off this subject matter. I'm really kind of sick and disgusted with this. Not because folks are doing it or so forth and so on, but because many will hear in one ear and they'll just go out the next ear. You see what I'm saying? And but for y'all who do hear, and hopefully might be some potential sisters out there that will hear this appeal, right, to whatever soul, right, whatever soul you still have, right, and you'll get out of this cult, out of this hair cult. That's what it is. It's an addiction, right? It's an addiction, and as most addictions go, most addictions usually, inevitably, turn deadly, right? And we already are seeing the first fruits of this black hair health crisis. More to come. Shalom Ras Tafari.